Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome once again to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. Thanks as always for watching. TNA Slammiversary is this coming Sunday live on pay-per-view. Make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the very latest news and rumors, as well as live results coverage of TNA Slammiversary as the event is happening. NoDQ.com is your source for all that regarding TNA Slammiversary. With that being said, well, you know what? If you guys are playing a no DQ&A drinking game, this one's for you. Let's get right down to it. 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 All right, first one today comes from WWE Fan 5. And take a shot every time I answer one of this guy's questions. Hey Aaron, if Randy Orton stays babyface, would you like to see Randy Orton and Sheamus get a tag team title run at some point down the road? I think it would bring back a lot of value to the tag titles, and it would be great to see. Well, the thing is, the Shield has a lot of momentum right now as tag team champions, and I think it's best to have Randy Orton and Sheamus feud with each other. I think that that's the direction WWE should go in, so I wouldn't exactly put the tag team titles on them, but I think it would be a good idea to have them get a tag team title shot, lose to the Shield, and then that is the setup for them splitting up and one of them turning heel on the other and then doing that match down the road at SummerSlam or whatever. I think that that's the best way to go. I don't think that the Shield should be losing the tag team titles anytime soon. So if it was me, I'd keep the titles on Shield and have them beat Randy Orton and Sheamus and then go from there with Orton versus Sheamus as a feud. All right, this one comes from Austin Humphrey. What is your favorite Kurt Angle WWE and TNA match? Well, this is a biased answer, but I have to say Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21 because I was there, of course. But you know what? That was my all-time favorite match that I saw in person. And in my opinion, one of the all-time greatest WrestleMania matches. So that's number one for me. A close second would be the Kurt Angle match with Shane McMahon at King of the Ring 2001. Just because of the intensity of that match and, Shane McMahon going through the glass and all the craziness involved. I mean, it was just a spectacle. As far as TNA matches go, I really liked his match with Samoa Joe. All of his matches with Samoa Joe, but the one at Lockdown 2008, had a little bit of an MMA vibe to it, and I thought it was something very unique for TNA. And that pay-per-view, that Lockdown pay-per-view, actually was one of the most successful pay-per-views that TNA ever produced. So why they didn't keep going in that direction, with the MMA stuff, I don't know. But, I mean, it was something really cool and different. And, those two guys never had a bad match. I mean, all their stuff was great. All right, this one comes from Jobber Mode. Hey, Aaron, recently started watching TNA weekly pay-per-views, and I love them. What are your thoughts on them? Well, it wasn't the greatest idea to do weekly pay-per-views, but they really had no choice at the time. As far as the quality of the shows, I mean, it was a mixed bag. A lot of weeks you had some really great wrestling, and then other weeks you had a lot of talking and a lot of nonsense. And I remember somebody had a sign in the crowd, the total nonstop action has officially stopped, and that happened a lot. And you had some interesting surprises. I mean, one week Tony Schiavone showed up randomly. You had a lot of that. You had a lot of random people showing up and TNA trying to bring in different people to draw an interest in the pay-per-views. So, I mean, some of them were good. Some of them were bad. I mean, it was a lot of experimenting at the time in TNA trying to find out what they were as a product. And although to this day I think they're still not sure what they are. All right, next question. Where do you see Jack Swagger's character going now? I think that he will continue to do the same character at least for a few more months. If anything, I think that Dolph Ziggler getting injured has bought Jack Swagger some time in the world title picture because I do think we will see that triple threat match at some point. WWE advertised it, and usually they deliver things that they advertise. So I sense that, I don't know if it's going to happen at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or whatever, but I do think we will see that triple threat ladder match for the world title, and thus Jack Swagger will continue to be in the world title picture, and he will continue to do the whole We the People gimmick. Now, I don't see it being a long-term thing. I don't see Jack Swagger doing this character a year from now. I think WWE will get tired of it, and that could be bad news for Jack Swagger, and he could be back into the lower card or whatever. But at least for a few more months, I think partially due to Dolph Ziggler's injury, I think that Jack Swagger will continue to get at least somewhat of a push. All right, this one comes from Jake Perry 98. What was the last good thing you saw come out of TNA? Well, a few things. I mean, I do complain about TNA a lot, and I feel it's justified. But they do have some highlights, and I love the Bobby Roode and Austin Aries tag team. I think that they have a lot of chemistry together, and I've been entertained by their promos. And same thing with Kazarian and Daniels. I think they're a great tag team. And, the Bully Ray character. I'm not a fan of the Aces and Eights storyline or the faction, but I really like what Bully Ray has done. I think that he has really stepped it up as a performer. And even last week on Impact, I thought his promo with Brooke Hogan and Hulk Hogan was really good. I thought he did a tremendous job. So, I mean, I like the role that he's been playing, and I think he's been at the best he's ever been as a performer. So, there are some good moments in TNA, but then again, there's a lot of bad ones too. JMSVLSTRS. Hey Aaron, what did you think of the highlight reel on Raw? I thought it was one of the best promos in a while. Jericho and Heyman really sold that match. Y2J versus Punk happened before, but I'm looking forward to it, to what I know is going to be a great match. I agree with you. I thought that was a really good segment, and I think it's going to help the Payback pay-per-view buy rate. I don't know if it's going to help a lot, but fans know going in that they're going to get a great match with Chris Jericho and CM Punk. And Jericho is excellent on the mic. And whenever you have two guys in there that are great talkers, I mean, it's hard to mess that up. And I mean, both guys were at the top of their games, and Paul Heyman being a tremendous heel, and The feeling I got from that segment was that this is the beginning of the CM Punk and Paul Heyman split. And if that's the case, I mean, they did an excellent job on Raw. I mean, I really have no complaints about it. I was very entertained. All right, this one comes from Brock and Punk 91. Hey Aaron, great show. Please answer in video. What did you think of Jonathan Coachman's run in WWE? I think he was a decent heel commentator. Do you see him returning in the near future? I do agree with what you said here. I think that he was a decent heel commentator. I don't think he was great, either as a heel or a face. I thought he was just okay. And to be honest, there were times that I found his character to be annoying, and not the good heat, but the turn off the TV heat where I really don't want to watch him. But he had some moments. And as far as him returning, I think that's unlikely. He has a very steady job with ESPN doing the sports casting. So there's really no need for him to come back to WWE. He's got his own projects, and he's doing his own thing. So, I mean, more power to him. So I don't think it'll happen. All right, this one comes from B Morgan 4894. Hey Aaron, was wondering if you were running WWE right now, what would be the changes you would make to spike ratings and better the product? And this question actually plays into the next one here. Hey Aaron, keep up the good work. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on the direction WWE has been going in the past 6 to 12 months with bringing wrestlers from other promotions such as ROH? If I was in charge of WWE, I would be doing what they're doing right now. I would be bringing in as many up-and-coming superstars as possible and trying to create new stars. That is the key to long-term success, is creating new stars. Fans will get tired of seeing the same people year in and year out, and eventually they're just going to tune out and stop watching. We saw it happen with WCW, where WCW did not create new stars and their ratings started tanking. And when WWE started creating new stars like Stone Cold and The Rock and Mankind and Triple H, their ratings started spiking and going through the roof. So you really have to keep creating new stars, and especially with weekly television shows, the characters, their shelf lives definitely decrease when you have television so often, and the characters can get overexposed. And this brings me to John Cena. Everybody asks me about John Cena and what should be done with him. If I was in charge of WWE, I would take him off TV for a while. Now, short term, that's a bad idea from a business perspective because you'll lose some business and you might lose some ratings in the short term. But the key point here is you give Cena some time off so he can recharge his batteries and heal up his body, because let's face it, he's not Super Cena in real life. He's a human being, and everybody has a breaking point. Give the guy some time off, and when he's away, this is your opportunity to push some new talent and try to make the next John Cena. That's what WWE needs, is a new John Cena. And in the best case scenario, have 2 or 3 John Cena-like characters, these over-the-top superhero characters. The problem in WWE right now is that John Cena is really the only guy that fans really believe is a top-level superstar, and everybody else is way down below John Cena. So WWE needs to create some new stars and some new top stars that are at Cena's level. I don't know if that's Dean Ambrose or Dolph Ziggler, but you gotta try. You're never gonna know what's gonna happen unless you actually give these guys a chance to run with the ball and go all the way with them. And that's what WWE needs to do. They need to take some risks. In the 90s, Vince McMahon would take risks, and they paid off. Now it seems like Vince has no interest in taking any kind of risks. He's just going to keep pushing John Cena year in and year out, and as long as they're profitable, that's all that matters to him. So he's just going to, as long as he sees those numbers and sees that WWE is profitable, he's just going to keep doing the same thing with John Cena every single week on Raw for who knows how long. All right, one more question here from Stro IJA. You're working for WWE and Vince tells you to bring back 3 former WWE superstars on a full-time basis to boost up the ratings. Who would you bring back? This goes back to the other question. I don't know if I would bring back any superstars on a full-time basis, because you really do need to create new stars. The only stars I would bring back would be guys that could help elevate the younger talent. You could bring back RVD. On the short term, that would definitely boost ratings. But, after a few weeks, I think things would just go back to normal. But if you brought back RVD, he could certainly help out some of the younger talent, guys like Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose and so on. And, maybe Shelton Benjamin. Those kind of guys I would consider bringing back full-time and have them work with some of the younger talent. And I know you could bring back Batista. And I think it'll happen at some point. I think Batista will be back. And, he's been gone for 3 years now. So I think that him coming back could help WWE perhaps in the long term. Although I'm not sure I would bring him back full time. He might be best off coming back in a Brock Lesnar type role where he wrestles 3 or 4 pay-per-views a year and you put him in there with the top tier guys. That might be the best way to go with him. I'm not really sure. But, Batista, I could see him coming back, and I might think that is a good idea. But it really depends on if you're able to push new talent. If Batista coming back is going to compromise pushing new talent, then I would not bring him back. All right, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Keep spreading the word, Facebook and Twitter. Tell a friend, anybody you know who watches wrestling, let them know about NoDQ&A video. And I will see you guys next time for more.